Merry Christmas, Daily Dosers. Today I want you to picture a typical nativity scene, right? What's the nativity scene? You got to have Jesus. He's kind of the centerpiece of it, right? Then you got mom, Mary. You got dad, Joseph. They have walking sticks for some reason. What else is in the manger scene? You get some donkeys. You get some kings, 3 kings who are in there. You get a star directly over the stable, which would have been awful. The stable is generally made of wood. And it hit me last time I got to go to Israel on a teaching tour to learn and study the Holy Land a little bit more, is our guide, Ronan, sat there and talked to us about a typical nativity scene. I'd purchased one in one of the markets. All the markets basically sell the exact same thing thousands of times over. And there's these olive tree nativity scenes that you can buy outside of Bethlehem. So I went to Bethlehem and so I better get a nativity scene from Israel, because that's what you do, right? If you don't, I'm not sure you're really a Christian. You've got to buy something made of the olive tree wood from the Mount of Olives, which there's no telling where that tree actually was. It probably wasn't at all. But I'm a sucker for a great story. And so I bought it, and he starts walking me through it, and he kind of one by one would take things out of the scene, or he would change things. And as he did it, it was kind of this it folded into itself scene. So he kept grabbing pieces out when he proved to me that they really didn't belong there. And he talked about the 3 kings at first, and he said, "Do you know the song We Three Kings?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Sing it for me." So I was like, "We 3 kings of Orient are." He goes, "You're already wrong." And I said, "What?" He goes, A, they weren't kings. B, we have no clue if there was 3 of them. And C, when you say the word Orient, if you mean East Asia, you're probably wrong on that too. And so first of all, he took my wise men away, right? He's like, these are stargazers. These are, all right, astrologists, right? These people are just watching this stuff play out. Felt like they had this sign. So he takes away my wise men, first of all. And then he's talking about when they actually would have shown up. Even if they were wise men, they didn't show up until well after the manger scene. Then he takes away the actual stable itself, because he goes, "Chris, look around you. When's the last time you saw a tree around here?" Right? A lot of palm trees, but palm trees don't make for great wood. He's like, stables back then were almost all carved out of rock. So wasn't probably this here. Then he started looking at my animals. I'm like, what's wrong with my animals? And he's like, these animals wouldn't have been there. So he kind of slowly and selectively takes out almost all of the things out of my manger scene until I really just have a dad, a mom, and a baby, Jesus. And it was kind of a cool word picture for me of there's so many things we try to implant into the season of Christmas, and the more we try to wedge more things into it, and the more tradition we try to add to it. Traditions are great and they're phenomenal, but I think sometimes it almost overrules what the main point of everything is about. And again, I think it's the root of every Christmas movie is exactly the same. Maybe Christmas isn't about that. Maybe Christmas is about family, right? I mean, isn't every Christmas movie the exact same plot line? Let's work ourselves to the bone, making Christmas this perfect, idealistic, pastoral, perfect Thomas Kincaid-like setting holiday. And then the more you try, the worse it gets, and it's like being in quicksand until everything is just shot. And National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, The Grinch tries to steal Christmas, doesn't quite work itself out. Home Alone, let's go away on this big trip, but we left our kid at home. Turns out family's most important after all. I mean, you name it. VeggieTales, the toy that saved Christmas. What if it was all about toys? Turns out it's not about that at all. It's all the exact same thing, and I think that's it's the root of every Christmas movie. But I think what's ironic is if we're not careful, it kind of becomes what our season is about. So let me just challenge us as we jump into Christmas tomorrow. What time have we laid out to just get on our knees and thank God that he sent his son? It's such a given for us now. It's a 2,000-year-old story. But God could have easily looked at the world when we rebelled against him and said, forget it. And instead, God put on the very characteristics of man. He put on flesh and bones. He became subject to our gravity, subject to our pain, to our turmoil. It's the story of when God became man. Would we find time today and tomorrow to celebrate that truth with family when everything else is all stripped away? Merry Christmas.